I'm going to mute my mic for a minute
Okay.
because I have to finish this bowl of cereal. I'm sorry.
All right. I
And I'll
just had
just
ice
take
cream
your
cake
part
for
out
dinner.
if we hear you.
This was my dinner.
Because at least with Zoom, I get 3 separate
Oh, that's right.
audio
That's right.
feeds, so you don't have to worry about.
We'll recognize the sound of crunching.
Eat it before it gets soggy.
Can you hear it?
Nope.
Actually, no, not
Okay.
really.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good to see everybody.
Yeah.
It's like a long time.
Right?
I think I said that last time.
It feels like forever though. It's just the season. It's the holidays. It's like every week feels like about 3. So.
That is so true.
Right? We pack in so much stuff.
Yay. Well, this podcast will be the first one in 2021. So I actually have one going live tomorrow, which will be the last one for the year. So we're covering.
Happy 2021.
Woohoo!
Welcome to the new year.
Let's hope it's better than last year, right?
I guess. I mean, I don't see how a day is going to change. I think it's like birthdays. We wake up and say, oh, look, I'm X. And it's like, wait, I still feel exactly the same as yesterday. That's how I feel about this coming year.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, we're going to wake up on January 1 and be like, hey, still feels the same as yesterday.
Yep.
Okay, hopefully, crossing fingers, sure. I'll be positive for you.
Yeah, well, it can't be worse than December for us, so.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Yeah, you drew the short straw there, didn't you?
Well, we did. We almost escaped pretty softly, I guess, except for Nathan, so. But it's all good. So I did want to run something by you guys. I know the last time we met, we talked a little bit about wanting to do a Patreon, and I set all this stuff up, and we worked out the levels of what was on it. And the more I think about it, the more I really don't want to do it. Are you guys okay with that? I mean, I love the things we came up with. I love the idea with it, the idea behind it. But to be honest, it's just so much more work.
Let's just wait. Let's just wait. If we hit a point where we decide we need to, then we can do it. But you know what? It's just extra work right now.
It's extra work. And I'm not doing this really for sales or marketing. And my husband's in a great mood right now. He's like, well, just pay the fee for the RSS feed hosting. And it's not really a big deal. So since Zoom is working and our microphones and stuff are working, there's really not anything else I think we need to cover. So I'm like, so if
sounds
you're
good.
All right, yay. I will just like undo it and pause it. I'll leave it there in case we ever decide to come back, but that's a load off my mind. I just really didn't want to mess with trying to post the videos on YouTube and making them private and putting them on the Patreon. And
yeah,
I'm like, we can share them sometime on the Facebook if we want, but okay, perfect.
Okay, particularly funny.
yeah, but we have a really good one.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, I did do something else kind of instead today. I created a group nested underneath the Loose Leaf Podcast Facebook page. I think I sent Kahle an invite, and I think I sent you one too, Hillary.
It's on Facebook?
It's on Facebook, and it's just going to be a writers supporting writers group. And so I haven't done anything. I invited a few people that popped up in my list right away, but basically it'll just be more of the chat area where people can get together and decide if they want to swap for critiques or if they have specific questions about, hey, I really need to learn how to get my verb tenses to match up. And we can have like little discussions. And I thought what I might do over the next couple of months is I'll do all the research and you can do units where it's like little lessons. And so I would do one on verb tense agreement, maybe on point of view, and just whenever I can put one up, I will. You guys don't have to worry about doing any of that. but it's like an online writers group that's just open 24/7 for people to get on and interact.
Sounds like
Sweet.
fun. Sounds like more work than the Patreon, though.
Yeah, but I don't have to do the work. Other people can come on and ask a question, and then other people can answer questions. So,
Right. So
it's
creating a space for
yeah.
the leaf pile.
Yes. So our leaf pile will move to that Facebook group instead of a, you know. Uh-oh, did we lose Hillary?
No, I'm sorry. I have an issue.
Oh no. Your photo's frozen.
Yeah. The door into the garage seems stuck.
Huh.
You're like, great.
I think it's one of our Airbnb guests.
Oh.
I just have to fix something, I think, tomorrow. Oh, there it is. I was looking for Loose Leaf Author Podcast. Invited you to join this group. I will join.
Yeah, I think we only had one person there when I looked earlier, and she was coming to our writers group here, and then of course we have not been meeting for writers groups. So,
Is it Tiana Brown?
yes,
I don't know her.
yeah, she writes. I kind of want to call it horror.
Is that the kid?
No, she's married, but she's young.
Okay.
She's pretty young, but she is married, and reading her first chapter was pretty amazing. So I'm expecting big things from her in the future, but she's pretty
Cool.
busy with school and stuff. So Hillary, would you like to introduce what we're going to talk about today? Because we liked your idea about talking about genres.
I didn't know what you guys had agreed on there. Kale's like, sure, I could talk about stuff. Like, yeah. That's like, and then we like, which one? I had two things there. I don't know which one we picked because they were kind of similar.
Yeah. Well, I think they go well together. You said something about talking about genres, what makes each genre I cannot talk.
Yeah.
Talking
What was
about
the other thing?
what makes each genre unique, or how we keep things believable.
Yeah.
Like by not being too convenient, having realistic dialogue.
So which one are we doing? They seem pretty different to me, actually.
But I think each genre has kind of slightly different rules about what makes it believable.
Okay, so we're talking about the believable one, really, is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, is that what you were saying as well, Kale? Because that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we're talking about how we keep our writing believable. I'm so good at this.
Does anybody feel like jumping in? I know Kale sounds like you have some ideas about how you keep your adventure writing believable, says for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. So in books that I have read and in adventures that I have written and played through, there needs to be so what makes fantasy believable, I think, is the lies, I guess, is the one way to put it. The imaginary things that get you to buy into this world and this universe. Whenever the characters see something that to you is very strange, but to them is commonplace, all of a sudden the reader has a decision to make. Well, is that weird to me, or am I feel like it's inviting the reader, or in D&D it's inviting the player to buy into the story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what gives it that fantasy feel, that it is so different.
and it's what allows your brain to transport to another place rather than um it's very similar, I feel, with historical fiction, where it's what is real makes it real.
Yeah.
You're reading historical fiction and all of a sudden they're talking about this thing that maybe if you're really into historical fiction like my wife is, um you you hear them talking about uh I'll I'll use a film reference. I'll use a film reference because it's the most recent one I've noticed. The was it Amazon that made the new Emma?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
I didn't know there was a new Emma.
I know we're
It's
like
freaking good.
I want to see it.
I had a big problem with it the first time I watched it because Emma is a jerk.
That's a real thing, though.
She really is when you think about it. But I'm just so used to the BBC one, the more recent BBC one. I love that one. It is my favorite
Friendly,
one.
sweet Emma.
Yeah, but this one was like, man, Emma is so bad for these people. She needs to shut her mouth. And but the historical accuracy in it really like buys in. In the beginning, you see it's Knightley, right?
yes.
Mhm.
You see Knightley getting dressed, and it is like a process.
That makes me so happy.
and and you're like,
Comment. I find this fascinating that the guy of our group knows about the new Emma movie before the two romance writers. I love that.
Well, honestly, my little romance writer heart is going crazy here, just imagining these scenes already.
It's like, let's hurry up and finish this podcast. I need to go look it up.
So I can watch Emma.
you do. It's good. It's really good. It's a good version. So.
But the historical aspects really make it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like the clothes are
that.
exceptional.
See, the
I
seamstress
swear
and
they
Hillary's
filmed-
going to connect to that too.
Oh, dang. I love that stuff. I follow so many tailors and historical tailors on, there's a guy called Pinset Tailoring that does stuff on Instagram, and it's incredible. He does all his stuff by hand. I love the historical stuff. Someday, I will have a historically accurate, awesome Regency dress.
All the under things.
Do it.
I would love that. I really would. I mean, I feel like
Do
that's
it.
what actually makes them look real, is when you do all the layers. Because if you just do the shell of the dress, it just looks like a shell of a dress.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can I divert us for
Someday.
1 second?
Yes, go. I'm
Yeah.
sorry that I interrupted you. Go for it.
Oh no, you're fine. Did you guys watch that little clip I sent you?
Oh, goodness.
Probably
I have
not.
to-
Right now, I'm doubting
Hello?
myself.
Uh-oh. Oh,
Hello.
Hello, can you not hear
Oh, no,
me?
my internet.
The Muppet Christmas Carol. I have not watched it.
I love the Muppet Christmas Carol.
I've seen the whole movie, but I didn't watch the clip you sent.
George made his way up the staircase, carrying not a button for the darkness. Darkness was cheap, and Scrooge liked it.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
The incident at the door
Okay.
made Scrooge wary. Before he shut himself in for the night, he searched his rooms. Okay, that does it. Pardon? How do you know what Scrooge is doing? We're down here and he's up there. I keep telling you, storyteller's omniscient. I know everything. Toity, Mr. Godlike Smarty Pants. To conduct a proper
I don't know how long it is. Oh. Sorry.
It's just 50 seconds. And then he goes, Scrooge had to turn on the lights, and the lights come on.
It was like,
And then what?
No, it was just the comment of how do you know what's going, because Gonzo is playing Charles Dickens telling the story. And he's like, how do you know what's going on? I keep telling you, storytellers are omniscient.
we wish. I wish.
But
Nope.
anyway, The thing I was going to say about Muppet Christmas Carol is the costuming in that
It's pretty cool.
is insane. I watched a 25-minute video of this lady who does like period piece sewing and costumes in the movie, and was like freaking out about how all these puppet costumes are perfect. Even in the flashback sequences, they flash back and they do the style from the period of the flashback.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Awesome.
it is. It was impressive to see her freak out about it. I was really happy. Actually, that's my favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah,
Oh man,
It's been interesting this year because my husband, I think, has decided to watch every version of A Christmas Carol that he can find.
Oh my
I think
goodness.
I've watched it like 8 times this season, all different, everyone a different version. And it's been really fun, but it's been really interesting too to see how the not only the costumes, but the story changes with every version.
Yeah.
And to see the differences in each of those, it's pretty cool. Some of them have amazing costumes and some of them not so much. But yeah, it's cool. How did we get onto costumes?
I don't
Emma.
know. Yes, Emma. Yeah. So let's go back to your fantasy.
We talked about it for like a second.
Oh yeah.
Because it makes it more believable.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. It did.
Yes, the authentic realism. We keep losing
That's-
Kahle.
That is actually something that
Yeah,
I have
it's-
tried to do even in my
it's the
writing
cold.
is oh
Yeah,
are
the
you freezing
cold-
over there?
No, the cold makes the internet like screw up out here in the garage. So
Oh,
Sorry.
No, that the costuming is something, because I'm a seamstress and because I love sewing and clothes. That is something I try to use in my writing. I try to include that in my senses, you know, the whole investing people in the story. I don't know if it's necessarily making it believable, but I'm hopeful that it's pulling them in more and grounding them more in what's happening so that they can see that picture better in their head. And clothing is something part of what I try and use to do that. I think it's interesting to use that and get a fuller picture, I guess. But
that's really good.
yeah, believability.
Yeah. Did you want to say anything else about fantasy, Kahle, before we move on? And we'll let Hillary cover romance.
Can you hear us?
He's like, let me think.
Yes, I can.
Oh.
I was
delayed.
just going to use an example from an adventure. So to get my players involved in a story that I wrote, before they went into the dungeon, there was like a travel sequence through a forest with a non-player character who was like guiding them. And they stopped in this grove, and all the trees had parted and there was one big tree in the center. And the person they were with approached the tree and like bowed to it, and then it turned and had a face, and it allowed them to go, what is that? And the way that D&D functions is somebody made a skill check of history and rolled to see if they knew anything about it. They rolled high enough. I said, here's what you know about what this might be. And so the party then understands like, oh, wow, cool. If they would have rolled low, it would have been, you have no idea what this is. What is your reaction to this? Wow. And yeah, that's one of the more improvisational aspects of it. It's a tool that I use a lot in tabletop gaming. So
That's amazing. That's one of those things when you say that kind of stuff, it makes me think I'm writing a cozy mystery right now. And I finally have it piecing together, and which is really good because the first chapter's due in like 2 days. But I'm working on this, and so I have just been thinking a lot about doling out information. And when you talk about that, it kind of struck me, because I'm like, man, having to be an improvisational storyteller like that is such an amazing skill. That's not something that I do well at all. Like any kind
you
of
would be
improv,
so
really.
good at it.
Oh, I'm terrible. You don't even know. I can play the what if game, but it doesn't go anywhere. But it's amazing, because just hearing you do that. I mean, I know you have some books and things, but you create a lot of these on your own, right? Yeah, you just sit and you tell the story. And I think that is evidence of a really natural ability to be able to dole out information. The idea that you can have somebody say, okay, we have this level of a skill, and even being able to know how much information to tell them is so cool. Knowing like this is the high level information, this is the mid level, and being able to deal with that. Me, I'm like, this is the information that we have. Take it all. I'm really bad at doling.
And that probably is a big challenge for you with the suspense, because you have to do it in such small little amounts to keep the suspense up.
It's killing me. So I'm trying to figure out right now how to keep secrets. That's not good.
That's not a natural talent for you.
It's not a natural talent.
Awesome. That's awesome.
I don't keep secrets.
Oh man. Oh.
So I'm working on it. Yeah. It'll take a few drafts. It's a good thing it's a novella.
Yes. Oh, but that's fun. It's a fun skill to learn.
It is fun. I just put my mom into a burning building today. It was great.
Oh no.
I actually felt really good when I was done. I'm like, I just did something cool.
Did you call your mom and say, hey, did you smell smoke?
I did not. I wanted to, actually, but I've been a little afraid to send it to her before I've got the whole thing finished. So
yeah,
people give feedback if you give them your story, and I'm not ready for feedback yet.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah.
Well, I was thinking a little bit about science fiction and what makes that believable. And I do think there are levels, because there's so many different kinds of science fiction. And so I think, depending on what kind you write, I think there are slightly different levels of what you need. But obviously the basis of science fiction is that what if question, but it has to be supported by the technology. And like, I write soft science fiction, which allows me to kind of bring in my little elements of, that are more fantasy related. So I don't, like, mine is not hard science where you could go to a science textbook and go, oh, this is what's going on. But military sci-fi, I think you need to have some experience with military, so it needs to feel authentic and like someone understands that world. So I think there are lots of different things that are necessary to make it believable, and the biggest one for science fiction is technology and science. So that's where the research comes in.
I was going to say, really good research.
Yeah, that was something that you talked about with both Damien and Scott.
Yes.
In those interviews, Damien Larkin and Scott Kuhn.
Yes.
That was a cool thing, because Damien had more.
He had the military experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a very cool angle to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to hear that reemphasized again to anybody out there doing science fiction, like,
yeah. Well, I'll be honest.
Don't be afraid to reach out to people who have that experience to get some information from them. You don't have to just research in a book. There are plenty of people that want to share experiences, and hey, maybe they'll give you a story and you can get inspiration for your story from what they have to tell you.
And we've all learned that you can't make stuff up like what actually happens. Sometimes life is stranger than fiction, and you could end up with something amazing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, after talking to Scott Kuhn and all of his talk about making sure you're backing things up with the science, I kind of fell into that whole, here comes my dog scratching at the door. I fell into that whole author imposter thing. I was like, oh, I didn't do that. I didn't do that with any of my science fiction. I just told a story about these people. And it was like, fuzzy science over here. And I was like, I hope Scott never reads any of my stories.
Oh no.
That is seriously, I was like, okay, just get over it. I'm a different kind of writer, that's all.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's like you said though, it's a soft science fiction. I think yours works in that world because you do pull in those fantasy elements. It's not just straight up contemporary and aliens.
Yeah, and there is magic, and magic is,
amazing. Fills in the gaps.
It does. It fills in the gaps, and and you have to have magic if you have dragons. So
just a little sprinkle.
Yeah,
that's right.
So
believability for me. I think it's interesting because you guys took it very much at a base genre level, probably because we were talking about genres before that, and I honestly was not thinking about that at all. So when it comes to romance or cozy mysteries being believable, I'm kind of on the fly here with that. But to me, it's about the creating experiences and using the 5 senses and all of these things, because they're both contemporary. We're writing a world we already know and believe. So as long as you're not like throwing the rules around in that and people going, wait a minute, no. It's more about making sure that your characters know what they're talking about. That I read something today where she was discussing some characters who were like, oh, there's this fast moving river. I don't know how to swim and I can't get over it. Lucky I watched a video a week ago that taught me how to make a raft. And hey, I have a tomahawk right here in my backpack. Let's do this. And she's just like, exactly. Can't swim, but look at me. I can build myself a raft right on the fly. Never done it before. So it's just like making sure that if you needed your character to have a skill, that making sure that we include those, not that knowledge a little earlier, that maybe this is something that's a passion of theirs, or maybe, if they need to kick someone in the chin with their awesome karate moves, that maybe they just brought home a little trophy for their karate thing at the beginning of the story or something. I thought it was nice to look at that and be like,
made a raft.
I just love the tomahawk in my backpack.
Yeah, because we all carry tomahawks in our backpacks.
That is my contemporary toolkit right there.
Well, I love too. In our text, we were texting before getting onto podcast, and you talked about dialogue. I think dialogue can, no matter what genre, the dialogue really has to feel like something you would hear, even if you're in fantasy or if it's historical or if it's in the future. There are certain things that just, when you read it, you're like, nobody talks like that.
Well, and the other hard part about dialogue is sometimes, you've seen things where they're like, if I actually took a transcript of the conversation we just had and tried to put it into a book, that would not work. Right. I mean, there's way too much half conversations, half sentences and things where people will be like so lost. Yeah. And
there's a lot of physical cues that associate a conversation.
It's true, and we repeat ourselves and we talk about boring stuff.
Yes.
In a book, in order for it to be believable, we have to run-on sentences. In order for it to be believable, it does have to be a little bit more concise. It has to help our brains keep moving through that conversation quickly so that we can keep hold of the path that we've sent them on, that the author has sent them on. So I don't know, it's tricky business, that dialogue stuff, but you're right.
It is, because
it can make or break it.
You have to follow some rules, but still add in little snippets of what it would really feel like.
Well, and really knowing your genre makes a difference in that. I know Tamara Heiner wrote one where I was looking at it and I got done with a scene and the guy was sitting on the ground flipping through his phone, like watching for someone to call. And I don't even remember what he said, but it was just like, it was something that was so real that I was just like, we don't see this in books ever. You know, they don't sit there and watch the phone like this anymore. And the whole rest of the story had nothing like that. You know, it was contemporary, but it's just like there was just this moment that I was like, I could see myself doing that. And it's taking these moments that we see in our real lives that, you know, if you're, I guess, thinking about your story and what that character is going through and what would I actually be doing, being able to pull those real life moments into your books, I think is pretty amazing.
And then the reader makes a connection, like you made a connection with that
You make
character.
a connection.
That's what writing does.
That's it. Making connections. Good job, Charity. You found her grounding point.
Yes, make that connection. You had one other thing in your text that I wanted to ask you about because I didn't understand what you meant.
Oh.
You said, or your other love to hate issue.
Oh, I just meant like, as authors, are there issues that we have as we're writing where it's like, okay, I have to watch this in myself because I always do this thing, but it doesn't actually work. Like, is there some kind of thing that you do constantly that you like have to watch yourself and keep yourself from doing, kind of a deal?
So that's a great topic for another day, huh?
Right?
Like my repetitive words.
Right. That's a big one. But yeah, I'm finding that with the cozy mystery writing that there's some stuff like that for me that I'm like, I really like to have these characters doing these things and it doesn't work. I have to go back and like change it. I have to bring them another direction or else the story never develops. So what was it? Oh, that was what it was for me. I've been finding that I have a really hard time putting my characters in danger. It's like when I was done putting her in that fiery building, I'm like, yes, good for me. So I'm like, I don't like to put my characters in danger. And so they have a really hard time developing through these things. I'm like, how come they never have anything going on? How come? I'm like, oh, well, it's because I just like them to be happy.
Yeah.
Well, that's a kind of a good segue into, it's a new year. We have new goals. You've got this, you know, suspense that you've got to get out this year. Hillary, what are some of your other goals? Just broad, general. We won't get specific till next time, but what would you like to happen for you as a writer in 2021?
I'm trying to get more familiar with my writing, my style of writing, so that I can get through my stories quicker. That is my goal, I guess. And I suppose you can say I've been doing that. Last year, I only got one story written. This year, I've gotten 2.5. So I more than doubled it.
See, that's great.
But I'm hoping that as I keep doing this, you know, I'm going to be able to get faster and get better. And I have big plans and big goals, and I am excited to be working on them.
That's excellent. How about you, Kahle?
My goals with writing include basically doing it.
I love it.
I just need to do it so that I can find more things to work on.
Mm-hmm. See, and it's so hard for you. Like, I know for me, when I started, I was a stay-at-home mom. So yes, even though I had little kids and I was busy, I could carve out 10 minutes while I'm sitting in the school drive-through line and scribble something. You know, whenever we were sitting at the doctor's office, I could scribble something. You know, if they were taking a nap, I could get in half an hour. So even though it wasn't ideal, I could steal those moments. But you have a regular job and then you come home and you have to be with your family. So it's a little harder for you to figure out what that's going to look like.
How long have you been writing, Charity?
Seriously, for like when I got serious about writing, it's been 12 years.
How long have you been writing?
Oh. Wow, 18 years?
Okay. So she's been from the beginning. It took her 6 years to get serious, and it's been 12 years since then. And she's got a ton of stuff out there now. So keep that in mind as she's given this, as she's talking about this. These are the little pieces and things that we can do. And yes, it's going to be hard to find time to do that kind of stuff. But even when you do, it takes time, and you build up to that. And yeah.
Yeah. And I, you know, I know that it's hard for me to, well, not that it is hard for me to focus and write. It's because I like to have a lot of time, because 10 minutes here and there
is hard.
Oh, that's harder for me than finding 2 hours to write, honestly, because 10 minutes turns into 2 hours really fast.
Yeah.
Well,
it takes a good 10 minutes to figure out where you were.
Right. But you know, one of my overall goals this year is to start saying I'm going to do things instead of saying I want to do things.
Ooh, I like that.
And say, yeah, I'm going to do this, and try to drive that accountability home more. I say it a lot, but there's an invisible want inside of when I say I'm going to do stuff right now. I want to say I'm going to do that and then do that. So
maybe you need to say I will.
Yeah.
And then follow with fill in the blank.
Yeah, with as few words as possible after that, so I can have a concrete task.
Yes.
I like it. So I actually had a class that I was working on when I thought I might actually teach a class at the conference this fall. And basically it was just I think the title was just I am a writer. And it was basically talking about how saying those words can change your life, you know, going from I want to do this, or maybe I don't know if I can do this. I think it's a good idea, to actually saying I am a writer will change the way you look at what you do and who you are.
Yeah. And Kahle, you are a writer because you write stories for your D&D team all the time.
That amaze me.
Yeah.
Me.
We need
Even
to
if
play.
the words are not all written down.
It'd be so fun.
Well, Charity, how about yourself?
I have set some probably very unrealistic goals for myself this year, but I figure if you don't set big goals, then you know, at least if I'm reaching for this high goal, I will at least come halfway, which will be an improvement over last year. So my biggest goal though is I have to finish book 3 of the Magic Wake series. It is long overdue, and there's no excuse. I've got almost 50,000 words written. I just have to sit down and do it. And then that's the biggest one. If that's all I do, I'll be happy. But then I also have that 4-book romance series. So I've got a science fiction goal and I have a romance goal. And that's the romance goal for me, a 4-book series. Kahle's making faces, but Kahle, I've been trying to reprocess the idea and train my brain to think romance. Keep it simple, stupid. You know, so kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. You know, because romance, you only need the one, maybe a little half side thread. You know, don't make it too complicated. They're all mapped out, and so the first book needs 1 chapter. That was my goals. You know, October, November. The Discovering Her Heart with Kristen. She needs the final chapter, and that book will be done. So, if those are the only 2 books I put out next year, I'll be happy. But the goal is to do all 4 of those romance by the end of the year. That's 12 months. So that's.
Well, yeah. In reality, I have goals to finish, I think, 22 books.
This year, 2021.
Yeah, 12 of them are novellas.
Oh,
so
that's true.
I mean
that's true. Your 12 days of Christmas. Okay.
Yes, I want that. But
I was
that
like,
still breaks down to like, I have a 5-book series that I want
you
to
guys could see
at
Kale's
least get a good
face.
chunk of. I know, I love it. There's a 5-book series that I want to write. And what was the other ones that I was counting? And so the motorcycle romance, the 12 Days of Christmas, that's 17. And then
Your
I was counting.
fantasy book.
Oh, I didn't even count that one.
You need to make a list. Seriously, you need to make a list. Put all your ideas on the list. You will be shocked.
I have them all somewhere, and I honestly just forgot what my other ones were that I was talking about. So whatever.
I filled a page. I was like, this is insane. I have to get them done because that's why I can't think.
Oh, I remember what they are. Oh, I also have a couple of cozy mysteries that I have to do.
Yeah.
So one that actually has to be done, 2 that pretty much have to be done, and 3, the third one is it would be really good if that would be done too.
So poor Kahle, this is your future. Once you allow yourself to start writing, the ideas will overwhelm you and you will be like, I'm going to write 30 books this year. And then you'll like get 2 of them done and you'll be like, yeah!
Right? I have to get more than 2 done because I got 2 done this year. So I need more than that next year.
I'm happy with 2 because life is hard.
Life is so hard.
But I thought even if I could draft all 4 of them this year and then next year release like 5 books.
Boom, 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 boom.
But yeah, so
Yeah,
so Kahle,
that's
seriously,
good.
I think this is what I love about our group. We've got Kahle at the beginning who's still trying to figure out what it's going to look like and how he's going to do it. But it's that desire is there. We've got Hillary who's got her feet, both feet are in the water. And she's like, oh, I'm wading out. She's getting waist deep. And then I'm just like, I'm drowning.
Clinging to the life.
Yes, I'm like,
I love
voices in my head. Give me a break.
I love the way you said that though, because the description you gave of Kahle, I'm like, that sounds exactly like me right now, trying to figure out what's going on, what I'm doing, and just pushing forward.
You do have both feet in the water. You're at least up to your shins. You gotta own it, Hillary.
2 books, man.
Oh,
that's awesome.
I'll go dance in the water.
Kahle's still looking at the lake going, I don't know about this. And I'm trying desperately to swim back to shore. Like,
I don't know. I think he's dipping his toes in there. He's calling out you, being like, come back.
He's dipping his hands in and going, maybe.
He's like, what are you talking about?
I'm
Stop
like,
touching me.
it's really cold.
Oh.
The both of us are like, here's what he is. Did you get any writing done this week, Kahle?
Did I get any writing done this week?
Uh-huh.
The writing that I got done was for an art project for my my board game.
Oh, cool.
So I did
Awesome.
some mountains and some little forests.
So people can
All
explore
sorts
the
of
world.
little pieces, and yeah, so I'm getting all of that figured out and
so everybody
writing
that has
the
no idea,
rules and the process for the game.
Yeah, so tell everybody what you're doing because our listeners are going to have no idea what you're talking about. What are you doing, Kahle? What is this game you are talking about?
I am making a hex crawl tabletop game that is sort of like a combination between, so it looks like Settlers of Catan because it's hexagon pieces, but it plays more like Betrayal at House on the Hill combined with Bang, combined with I forget the other game, but
in all of his other spare
They're
time.
really fun.
That
He's
sounds
making
awesome.
his own game, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
He's just gonna like fly by us, Hillary, once
But
he gets going.
once that's
Oh, I know.
playable,
I know.
once
We
I've
have
got
so
a
much
couple
talent.
of playthroughs. No, bro.
Just own it, Kahle.
But,
Go, yes, I'm awesome. I can do anything. Say it.
Oh man.
You gotta say it, Kahle.
I have some potential. I have
Yes.
potential.
Thanks. You tightened that up a little for us. I appreciate it.
Oh man.
Livy thinks you're awesome.
Yeah.
Potential.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we should probably wrap
Thank you
this
very
up.
much.
Hey, we didn't even get like your time is running out. I don't know what happened.
Feels like we talked forever. So
Christmas bonus, I guess.
Christmas bonus.
For real.
More time on
Yes,
Zoom.
yes. Magic.
Sure.
Cool. Well, I guess the only other thing, like goal-wise, is I really want to continue kind of us meeting and doing our podcast because I love doing it with you guys. I do want to add like one kind of informational, a little more like here's some tips on how to do this crafting like once a month. Yes, Kahle, he's raising his hand for those that can't see.
What do you think about doing a song challenge every month?
I love it.
I do too. It was really fun. That's what I'm going to do for the writers group in February when I teach my lesson.
I was actually thinking about that after we did it. I had Allie do it. I just gave it to her and she did it. And I was just thinking it would be really fun to keep doing this.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. Who wants to choose the next song?
I have a list of songs. Can I choose a song?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll email you the song. I have a list of them. My son has been introducing me to the wonderful world of gaming music.
Oh, my little guy will enjoy this story.
Awesome. So it'll either be from Halo, one of the Halo games, or Destiny. So I will email that.
I wish the Elder Scrolls music.
Oh yes, I bet that is really good.
Skyrim soundtrack and Morrowind Skyrim.
So maybe we'll have to pull that up. I'm not at my desk. I'm at my husband's desk in the office, so I do not have the list. Or I could tell you what the song is right now because maybe our listeners would like to do it with us. So listeners, I will post the song and a link to it
to the Facebook
on our Facebook group. Yes, Loose Leaf Author Facebook group page, and I'll put a link. That'll be the easiest thing. I'll put a link.
That's fantastic.
So you can do the challenge with us.
Go to that page, the one that I posted.
So let's see. Let's see what the date is. When do we want to do the podcast with our stories? So today,
I would prefer earlier in January, honestly.
Okay. Well, that's right.
I've got
a
couple of things in the last couple weeks of January. I have some stuff happening. So
okay. So how about we say the podcast for Wednesday or Thursday, the 13th or 14th? Is that early enough? That gives us
so we'll
a week and
the recording on the 13th.
Yes. Well,
14th is my daughter's birthday, so
okay. Well, we would actually need to record
before that anyway.
On the 9th so that I can get everything edited.
9th is my husband's birthday. Can we do like the Monday or something?
The 6th.
I like the 6th.
Okay, because this podcast will go live on the 6th. We'll record our stories on the 6th. That gives us a week. So I
totally enough time. It takes us like 10 minutes, right?
That's right. Because these songs are about 6-7 minutes long. So I will email you tonight.
Okay.
And then we'll record it on the 6th. So it'll go live on the 13th.
Awesome.
Sweet.
This is like really weird that we've got an hour and we didn't get kicked off.
I'm okay with this.
Me too. Awesome. Okay.
Well, keep writing
Or
start
writing. We should probably think of something new, or just one of us do it. I don't know.
like it.
I do too.
That's Allie.
So that's relevant.
Yes. That is very true. It is very relevant. Because like some of us didn't write all month this month. And I was seriously
Except for our
today.
challenge.
I was like,
yes. At the beginning of the month we did the challenge in December.
yeah.
And that was
I'm
the last
finally
time I
getting
wrote.
words in, so I'll log them this month, okay, guys?
Yay! Yay! Cool.
Sweet.
Well, thanks, you guys. Have a good rest of your night. We'll see ya.